UC game, there was a incident with Edwin where he hurt his right knee. So I'll just kind of walk through a timeline. All right. So after that happened on the field, did a clinical exam. One of our doctors, Dr. Carr, was on property down in Miami. So he called me from the clubhouse after he was able to give Edwin a clinical exam, and said it looked pretty textbook for a patellar tendon injury, and that imaging today would confirm that, or point us in a different direction. So Edwin had imaging today around noon, and it was pretty straightforward, pretty black and white. So Dr. Altchek called me, as well as Dr. Galata. We talked through the diagnosis and what the treatments are. And so in Edwin's case, this is something that's treated by surgery. So he's going to have surgery this afternoon. Generally the longer that you wait, the more scarring that can happen, and the more scarring that can happen just it can just add to the surgical process. So he'll get that done this afternoon. As far as a general timeline, because we can't really give specifics, because it depends on what they see when they go in for the surgery, and then what the days after look like. So I'm just going to give general timeline. General timeline for a surgery like this is about 8 months. All right. There are instances where athletes have come back earlier, more around the 6-month mark, but those are a little bit more of the exception than the rule. And so in this case, we won't update Edwin's timeline for a while. So we're going to have the surgery. He'll have the surgery today, and we'll see how the recovery starts and how much he's able to weight bear, and how active he is. So I'm thinking we're not updating this timeline for a while. So just to make sure I qualify that with this group. So that's the case. I talked with Edwin a number of times. And I think to nobody's surprise, he's in great spirits, actually. He is a resilient human being. That's why he's the closer he is. This dude doesn't get rattled. So last night when he talked to me on the phone, he's like, "Don't worry, this is going to be fine. I'm fine. Doesn't hurt." That's just that's the guy. That's the athlete we've come to love. So. That's where we are with him, and I'll update probably post game tonight with kind of what I hear from Dr. Altchek, who's performing the surgery today at HSS Florida.
Is this a complete tear of the tendon?
Yeah, it's full thickness tear is how they refer to it, but yeah, it's a full thickness tear.
Is there any level of concern on your part that this is something that could linger beyond this year into next year?
No, not at this time.
Something that happens with contact, or was it just caused by jumping, or
It's a injury that's actually really common in the NBA and the NFL. When you get excessive load kind of put on your knee, it can happen. And there's been some baseball players, and I know one baseball player that had it covering first base, and like the braking mechanism of coming in and hitting the bag at first base. Has done it, so it's just when kind of force is applied to that area of the knee.
So he wasn't dealing with anything. This is more just a free sort of thing, right?
Yep. Just acute isolated injury.
Do you know what happened during that celebration?
I don't know specifics. I've heard a couple different stories, but just been kind of dealing more with our doctors and debriefing Steve and Alex Cohen and. Talking to Edwin and Buck and the coaches, and so.
Where do you go from there, Billy, as far as filling in?
We built a bullpen that we, walked into the year on paper that felt was pretty deep. I think I've talked to a number of you about having, 5 high leverage relievers, and what that usually lends itself to. So, we're in a spot where we have guys that have a good amount of closing experience on our roster right now, but as far as the immediate, that's going to be the conversations that Buck and myself and Hefner have, as spring rolls on and we roll into the season about how to you know, how we'll manage it or how they'll manage it, you know, game to game. So, you know, it's going to give opportunities for other people. I know we've seen some good performances by some of the other guys that have been in camp this year, and so we'll see where we're at with some of the other candidates here.
How, if at all, has this changed the way you think about sending guys to the WPC?
Yeah, you know, in general, we are, you know, not given too many opportunities to stand in the way when a player goes. There's certain criteria that has to be met in order for a player to not go. When we're given that runway, we've taken it. We took it with Marte, so we filed the objection on Marte because we could. But you know, I don't want to get into the specifics here.
All right, thank you, Billy.
Cool.